Don't go in that house, Becky!
See, I was going with, will Chad find out that Erica is hanging out with Chad's dad?
What?
Will Chad's dad find out that Erica used to be Eric?
I think you might have just created a segment. Soap time here on Excessive Celebration.
Soap? What's that?
Chad, don't leave me.
Ever since I stopped getting hugs, that's the question I've been asked.
You've been feeling less fully clean.
What's that? You know what? Without sports, sometimes I get that not so fresh feeling. But we're back. Excessive Celebration. Billy Bell over there. Scott Owens sharing the chair with me. What a lucky guy Scott is.
A slim down Scott Owens.
Yes, I'm what's left of Scott Owens. Bill, it all starts Saturday. I am telling you, once we got to like 100 days till college football, I started getting the night sweats, and is it ever going to happen? And you know, I like what was Chris Rock in New Jack City? Be calling me, man, and be calling me. Well,
start cleaning the barbecue for the fourth time on the third day.
That's right. That's right. Gotta be ready to plump when they cook them. But yeah, it is time. And so we will, towards the end of this show now, we're going to talk a little bit about games this weekend. I'm going to shake you up a little bit, Billy. I think you're under the impression that on Saturday there are two games of interest. Miami of Florida versus Florida, which is a mega game early in the year.
Right.
Because both of these teams have aspirations for better seasons than they've had lately. Pretty sure that other school, Florida State, does as well, but I don't know how they could not be better. And then we've got Arizona at Hawaii. But, Bill, it's a full day of college football because at 11 a.m., local time here, the Villanova Wildcats go to Colgate.
Ooh.
That's going to be on CBS Sports at 11. And then Samford, not Fred, goes to Youngstown State to play the Penguins. So those two games.
That's one of the better mascots not talked about, the Penguins.
Yeah. Always dressed formally for any occasion.
Pretty solid mascot there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as long as you keep things in black and white, I suppose so. But now, have you ever heard of a book, Bill, that Maddox at some point might read called "Where's the Poop"?
We've read that.
Yeah,
yep.
Penguins.
Yeah.
Kind of salmon colored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, salmon, penguin, Miami versus Florida. You got orange and green versus red. No, what's Florida? Orange and blue versus orange and green.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ugly. Who's going to win?
If you paid attention to our Facebook poll, which a lot of our listeners have picked Miami, I went the opposite way. I picked Florida.
I don't remember what I picked.
I think you picked Miami.
That would have been just to be on the other side.
I'm fairly positive you picked Miami. Or you might have been on the same side.
I don't know. I got Arizona beating Hawaii, though. Because if they don't...
In that poll, everybody picked Arizona.
If they don't, it's such a bad start for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They can't afford something like that to happen because I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to go well for them next Friday with Oregon State. That's not going to look good. It's going to be a tough start, I think. What if they struggle? Even if they struggle out there, that's not a good look.
Yeah, you picked the Ducks.
The Hurricane?
I just don't.
I picked the Hurricane.
Realistically,
did I pick Miami?
You picked Miami. Yes.
Yeah, the Ibis.
Realistically, when's the last time Hawaii's been any good? It's been almost a decade now. So
since the original McGarrett and Dano and Chin Ho and Zulu as Kono.
Well, there you go. It should be an easy win with Arizona. Even if they are trying to figure stuff out with their team, they should put a damper on the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, you would think so. And, Bill, we were talking about the next week just in terms of not getting into the very end, but Thursday games coming, again, a week from this Thursday. UCLA at Cincinnati's on that Thursday night.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech, Clemson. And Utah, BYU, the Holy War.
Yeah,
Those are great games.
I've heard a lot more talk this week about Utah could be the scary team that comes out of there. I don't see it. One loss kills them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be one of those teams that if one loss is all it takes, Clemson kind of falls into this. Well, yeah, Clemson falls into it a little bit to a degree, but if they lose, your season's done with. There's no way to make it up. I'd rather be a team in the Big 12, SEC, Big 10.
You could survive a loss,
right? Because your schedule matters.
Yeah.
So that plays a lot of it, or plays a lot into it.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the reasons why, BYU reminds me of some other teams that are right there but not there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Utah reminds me of a team that's right there but not there. Got a great coach. They're consistent. Their style of play lends itself to success, but I think they're just a few superstars always away. They can get some kids from California. They get some kids from Colorado. They get the Utah kids that BYU doesn't get. But as good as they are, they never seem to quite. I mean, All-American quarterback. Who was the last one? Smith?
Yeah.
So it just seems like quarterback play tends to hamper them, whether they're ending up in a tough, a championship game against Oregon or lining up against USC or whoever it is. They usually are the second best quarterback, and at some point that comes back to haunt you. So I think it's going to be a fascinating season, though. But there's some early games that are really good. And we mentioned the following Friday, Michigan State better be ready because the Tulsa Golden Hurricane invade them.
Yeah, and Clemson better not sleep on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has been one of those teams that can shock some teams. This early in the year, I don't think it'll happen week one this year, but they could pose a problem.
Yeah, the only thing, Bill, they got a brand new coach. They're not going to be running option.
Yeah.
So in one way, maybe Clemson doesn't know what these guys are going to throw at them. But you're changing an offense when most of the players that are still there are option players.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be, hopefully they'll give the guy time because it may take a while. And the other thing is, you're recruiting to Georgia Tech. You are playing by a different set of rules. It's like we talked about Stanford and Duke and some of these other schools. So I think it's going to be tough. But maybe, just maybe, Bill, the fact that they are going to be completely different may be an advantage even over having to prepare. Because if you think of it this way, the reason that things that make an option offense tough to defend are that you play wide open offense, wide open offense, wide open offense, then you get an option team, and you've got to completely shift your mindset. When you get to catch a team, say they hadn't changed coaches, and you're preparing all fall for that first game and it's option, then maybe not so much of an advantage. And maybe that's why, because nobody knows what Georgia Tech's going to do, that could be an advantage and at least make it interesting.
Very first play I run option. After that, I do what I'm really going to do, and whether it be air raid or West Coast or whatever you're going to do, just go with that. But very first play I run option just to throw them off. Oh, they are going to run option, and then nope.
And it's going to be an experiment for Georgia Tech because you think about the scholastic requirements they have there and why they would bring the kids in that they bring. And then all you got to do is look at Army, Navy, and Air Force. What do they do? Different variations of an option because that's the kids they can get.
Right.
We'll be back to wrap up Excessive Celebration for this week. Remember, Excessive Celebration on Crossover Radio. That's Radio with a Purpose. Coming the 26th, Crossover Sports. We'll be carrying the Putnam City Pirates. Crossover Radio still has Bethany, and we're also picking up Southern Nazarene University. So big news around here. Can't wait to bring you along for the ride. And Bill?
Don't forget.
Will we be back?
We'll be back. Tackle that app.
All right, we are back. You're listening to Excessive Celebration. Scott Owens and Billy Bell. Thrilled to be here. Really, thrilled to be anywhere, but especially here.
Super pumped up.
Did you say pork chop?
Super pork chop. Will be happening this Saturday.
Yeah, it's exciting, Bill. On next week's show, we are going to review the weekend games, the ones that we picked. We're going to prepare for Crossover Sports launch, Bill, with some exciting announcements regarding that. We'll talk Putnam City Pirate and Southern Nazarene University football and take a look at the 6A 1 and 2 landscape for high school football. We'll also see if we can solve Dallas's problems if they're still having them.
Burn it down.
And we can look forward to Oklahoma State and OU actually playing a game.
What?
Yeah.
Like hacky sack outside the comments?
Against another school.
Ooh.
I'm ready. I don't know about you, but I am fired up. Billy, we'll also talk a little scheduling. I think we have to defend our picks, and we'll do that by looking at the schedules of the teams that we picked to make the Final Four. And we'll have some more fun with bias and prejudice. And I've got an interesting story, Bill, about conference contraction.
Ooh.
It is compelling. Think of it this way. There are schools of thought that say that 14 is untenable, that it's not a good number because if you stay at 8 games and you've got a 14-team league, you have guys that never play, can be in a position where they never play against one of their conference schools. So there's talk about 12 versus 14. What makes that fun is the 3 Power 5 teams that have 14, or Power 5 leagues that have 14 teams, would have to vote 2 teams off the island. And it's fascinating when you look at the people suggesting who the 3 candidates in the SEC are, 3 candidates in the ACC, and 2 glaring candidates in the Big Ten. And it's pretty easy to figure out that the Big Ten are the last 2 teams that were allowed in.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun because it's the reverse. We can talk a little bit about that as well. Anything you want to throw out there, Bill, whether it's pro baseball? Got any Thunder thoughts here? Anything change your mind? Anything to look forward to?
Still trying to figure this team out. All the young pieces. Is Roberson ever coming back? I mean,
yeah, he'll be there to cheer everybody on again, I'm
he's
sure.
He'll be passing out popcorn. I mean, where has he been? Seriously.
I expect him to line up on the floor with Alex Abrinas. It shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
We still don't know what that was about.
Oh, we know. This story better saved off air. We know. I want to know when Sam Presti is either going to trade, draft, obtain a starting 2 guard in the NBA. You had Oladipo, you had Harden. After that, it's been a whole bunch of C players. I want to know when we're going to get, or when I say we, when the Thunder are going to get a starting 2 guard.
When the Texas Rangers decide pitching is a priority.
So never. Never.
That'd be my guess. But never isn't in our vernacular.
Ooh, word of the day.
Always is in our vernacular. And we'll always be here Friday, 4:30 to 6:30.
To pass out those hugs.
That's right. And on YouTube, Bill.
Ooh, whose tube?
Yours.
Ooh, Excessive Celebration. Find us on Crossover Radio. Also, Facebook.com, Twitter. Click those links down below. Comment, share, talk trash.
Chiseled.
Very chiseled.
All the pretty.
All of the pretty. Only here on Crossover Radio. Get that app.